All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of College Conversations. I'm really excited to be joined by my friend Mike from White Mountains Community College today. I will just do a little PSA ahead of time. We are recording this, so we're going to take the video of our conversation, put it on social media, the website, so it can be there to be followed up on afterwards. We will go to unrecorded question and answer at the end, though. I want to make sure if people have questions to ask that they don't feel like they're asking it, and it's going to live forever on the internet. So we'll get out of the recorded session before we pop into that. College Conversations is a conversation that's being led by Granite Edvance. We want to bring information about the colleges and universities here in New Hampshire to New Hampshire residents so that they can be better informed while they are making those decisions, whether for themselves as a student, as somebody who's advising a young person on their plans after high school, or maybe a school counselor, a community-based organization member who works with large populations of students. So with that said, Granite Edvance doesn't endorse one specific school or pathway over another. This is just our effort to bring quality information from the people who know it best to you all. So with that, Mike, welcome to College Conversations. Glad to have you today.
Hey, Matt, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you and be a part of this.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Do you want to introduce yourself, a little bit about you, where you live, maybe some hobbies, the normal bio stuff?
Absolutely. Well, my name is Michael Innes. I am serve as a director of admissions at White Mountains Community College, which we're part of the CCS&H system. I moved to New Hampshire about 18 years ago. I was doing the math the other day. I'm like, wow, that's a long time. I'm a New Englander, so I grew up in the Berkshires of Western Mass and moved away to Colorado. But like all New Englanders, I came back. I don't know if I missed the gray skies or what, but I love New England and the change of seasons. So I live in Twin Mountain, kind of in between both our campuses. We have a campus in Berlin, our main campus, and we have one in Littleton. So it's nice that I kind of live in between both of them. And I love living in the North Country for all the fun outdoor activities, whether it's um, hiking and bicycling and paddling and swimming, or in the winter, I love to cross country ski and downhill ski and snowshoe and even do some winter hiking. So it's an outdoor playground for sure.
Yeah, Twin Mountain's great. So you're definitely in the ideal spot for everything you just listed off. And I guess I didn't realize you were one of those infamous boomerangs, New Englander, leave and come back. So there's you are one of many that have boomerangs out and back. So
Absolutely. It's a good New England. It's hard to beat it. When you look
exactly.
at like top places to live in the US, it seems like half the small towns or cities are always in New England for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we hoping to understand a little bit more about college. You went to a high level right in community college, right? I feel like there's sometimes people understand that the community college system exists, but there's a little bit of nuance and regionality. So I'd love for you to just kind of high level tell us about White
Right.
Mountains.
And I'm sorry, I apologize, Matt. The first part of that I couldn't hear. The microphone was acting up again. I only
Um,
heard high level.
all right,
Sorry.
so yeah,
There.
if you want to just give a high level overview of White Mountains Community College, knowing that a lot of our audience is probably familiar with the community college system existing, but the regionality that each campus kind of has. So anything you want to add along that line as well.
Absolutely. So, as you know, White Mountains Community College is part of the CCS&H system, where there's 7 colleges in all. And we're the northernmost community college. We're above the notch, and we have 2 campuses, our main campus in Berlin, New Hampshire, and an academic center in Littleton, New Hampshire. So they're about an hour apart if you're driving between the two. And we have 35 plus academic programs that students can take part in, whether they're certificates, could be a 1 year certificate or even a 1 semester certificate up to a 2 year associate's degree. And then it's great for students who are thinking of transferring to a 4 year college, start with us, or perhaps maybe they come here and they get that 2 year associates and they go right into the workforce with that, or even the 1 year certificate. We have programs that are unique to the Berlin campus, like our register associate in registered nursing, our welding, our culinary and baking, automotive. Those are all like unique to Berlin. And then we have some programs that are unique to Littleton, like our commercial driver training to get your CDLA, our diesel heavy equipment technology. We even have driver's education for people who want to, teach driver's ed. And then we even have programs that you can do it either, like liberal arts or health science, for example. You could do the courses either at Berlin or Littleton. So depending on your location, what drive is better. If you draw about an hour radius from either campus, maybe even a little bit more, we're getting students, within that hour, even in that 90-minute. We get students from Vermont, from Maine as well. We serve a high area from the Canadian border all the way down to, you could say, right around just above the lakes region.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys for sort of like a pretty broad geographic representation across the North Country. And I'm always amazed when I have connected with some of the students that they're commuting from a distance to come to your academic programs. So it's really a great service that you guys are providing to the North Country up there. So when people are thinking about White Mountains Community College, what do they need to know about the admissions process, right? When they're saying, hey, I really want to further my education, earn a certificate, whatever their next step for them that feels right for them is, what do they need to know about that process and how should they go about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's pretty straightforward, not too difficult. It doesn't cost anything to apply. And all we really need is it's all online. You can go to our website and set up a profile and apply online. It probably would take a student no more than 10 minutes to do it. And they even do it on the phone as well too. And you pick your program you want to apply to, put in your information, what semester you'd like to start. For example, in 6 days, we're going to start the fall semester, August 31st, and we're still getting lots of applications in last minute for the fall. So the fact that, we don't require like a college essay, no application fee. The only thing we really need is an official high school transcript to be sent from the high school that you graduated from. Or if the student has a high set or a GED, they can send that one in themselves. And that's all we need, and we can accept you. There are a couple of programs that aren't automatic, such as the nursing program, but otherwise you apply, say you want to do diesel, you apply, you supply a transcript, you're going to get in, you're going to be accepted.
That's awesome. That's a nice, easy process for people who maybe feel a little anxious about kind of bigger, more involved processes to say, hey, I know this is straightforward, and I know your team at WMCC would help out every step of the way on that as well, and do a really great job of having that hands-on kind of full service admissions process. So once they get into their program, can you talk a little bit about the finances and the financial aid process and speak to affordability at the community college system? Because I think that's affordability is, a big thing for families these days. And I think that's a real advantage that the CCS&H system has.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's a little bit different than when I went to college or when you went to college, and maybe you automatically thought you have to go to a four-year college, and it was expensive, but not like it is today. So, who wants to graduate with, hundreds of thousands of dollars of loans and debt? So the nice thing about the community college system, it is $238 a credit hour this year of 26-27, with some associated fees on some of the programs. So it is by far very affordable, maybe about a third of the cost of some four-year colleges in the state as well. So about 75% of our students at White Mountains Community College get some sort of financial aid. And that itself, like our application process, it can be, some people think it can be very daunting, but it's pretty seamless, especially working with, Granite Edvance. It all starts with the FAFSA. So all of our students who are thinking of financial aid, which is pretty much most of them, or any scholarships or grants are out there, that we lead them to the FAFSA, to Granite Edvance or the FAFSA website, and they either fill it out themselves or they have help with your people, which is great. And we get a lot of positive feedback on it wasn't as daunting as they thought. And then from there, they can find out what they qualify for, whether Pell Grants, loans, or other scholarships and grants and things like that. So with our application process, we get them to apply online. And then from there, we're sending them emails with links to affordability So it works out pretty well. And like you said, Matt, the cost of community college, that return on investment is wonderful in today's day and age. It's gaining efficacy all over the country.
And what's your like typical student experience, right? I know that that's kind of a big question at the community college because you have students who are coming right out of high school, you're having people who are mid-career, career changers, there's people taking one class full time. But if you can kind of give a high level for White Mountains, what's the student experience like?
Yes, we do. We have students all over the spectrum for sure. And in addition to being the admissions director, I'm also an adjunct professor. So it's nice that I get to be in the classroom and I teach in the health science department. So, like in any of my classes, I'll have students that could be right out of high school. Some of them may still be in high school doing the early college, doing classes while they're in high school, all the way up to students in their 60s or people, especially in their 30s and 40s and 50s, doing career changes. So I think the average age of our student at White Mountains Community College is around 35. And,
Mhm.
some programs lend itself to being sort of a quote, kind of older, non-traditional student, where some of our programs might be kind of the 18, 19-year-old student. So, but on average, kind of puts that range about 35. Our class sizes are small, which is nice. We have that teacher to student ratio. It's if you see a class of 18 students, that's actually pretty large. So most of our class sizes, especially in specific program classes for like say baking or welding or culinary, they're going to be a little bit smaller for those core classes. So like about 10 people or so. So what I noticed right away when I started working here back in 2012, just as an adjunct professor, I noticed that they're not just a number. Like we know who you are. And I know that can be good or bad for the student, but we're not going to let you slip through the cracks. So
Yeah.
really, students have to try pretty hard not to succeed. So we have student support for them and resources. So that's what I really like about our college is that we have about maybe a student body of, let's say, 1,000 students served overall each year or each semester, and that ranges from online to in person to our early college students. But that being said, we keep track of the students and we can help them out for sure. So, um, our students, as far as their experience too, we have students that, again, depending on their age and life circumstances, they're balancing life as well too. They're balancing work and families. So it's great that we have different modalities for our classes in person, online, asynchronous online, and even high flex. Some courses may lend themselves that the student can come in person for a class, or maybe the next week they want to Zoom in.
Mhm.
Obviously, can't do that with every class, but like with like college composition, for example, that's we have that as a high flex class. So we try to give the students a lot of different options because we know they can be busy balancing work, life, and family as well too.
Yeah. I really like that high flex option. I can see how for a working person or parent, like that can be so helpful. Childcare falls through the last minute. They know they can still dial into class. Well, maybe the child sleeps or entertain them somehow, right? Throw on Bluey or something so they can then dial into class. But I really love that as an option for your students. Can you talk a little bit about, I think sometimes some of the conversation we hear at Granite Edvance is students want to go to school and get engaged in the community, and there might be a preconceived notion that they can't do that at a community college. Can you talk a little bit about how students can be involved and have that like school community, even
Yeah,
if they're not living on campus?
absolutely. Because we do not have residential housing or dorms. So all of our students are pretty much within that hour's drive living, or maybe they relocate up here to do a program. But COVID changed a lot of things for sure. And not only did it change in one benefit of like providing different modalities like high flex and asynchronous, but it also kind of changed people's sometimes perception. And they think of a community college as, oh, I'm there, I'm doing my class, and I'm out of there. And certainly we have students that do need to do that because of their life, but we have a chance for engagement and a school community here. For example, we have a student senate, and I'm part of that advisory board. So we have students, they can, we have a president and a vice president and all the different offices. And we do fun things throughout the year that the students vote on and use that student senate money to do, whether it is uh, like spring barbecues or in the autumn, we have a harvest festival. And around Halloween, we do like pumpkin carving. And so
Nice.
we even have a winter carnival with some relay races involving snow if there's snow up here. So lots of fun things if you want to have that engagement with your
Mhm.
peers. And then even little things like all the students coming in with student senate money. They last year they all got hoodies that said White Mountain Community College on it. So even though it's a community college and everyone is commuting in, there is that chance for community and involvement within the college itself amongst the different programs. So it's nice when you have students that may be in the nursing program and they come to like the winter games in February and
Mhm.
they're competing against students that might be in the teacher education program because they might not normally mix with classes. So
Yeah.
there is that option if students want that as well too. So I really like that. And another thing, as far as the college community, in addition to being involved in the events like that, we have something called meals included. So while someone is a student here, all their meals are free. We have an excellent culinary program as well as our whole, um, you know, bistro that
Mhm.
serves the students. And we started this with COVID and we've kept it going and breakfast, lunch, and dinner at both campuses. So whenever they're here, they will not go hungry. And it saves our student body over $110,000 a year is what we estimate. So just adding to that other conversation about cost. So how great
Mhm.
is it if, yes, you can get some meals here and cut down on your living costs as well. So that's a nice part of the college community we've created, and it's been well received.
That's amazing. I guess I didn't realize that y'all did that. I've had the beachfront food, and you're right, it's fantastic. But I didn't know you had meals included for 3 meals a day for students. So not only the cost savings, but the time savings to prep food, right? If they're balancing that busy life, they're like, I don't have to worry about packing it, like taking that 15 minutes in the morning or between work and class to make a sandwich. They know that it's going to be there and ready for them to grab when they get there. That's amazing. So
Yeah,
learn something new. Appreciate that.
yeah, we have students that, like you said, they work all day, then they come for an evening class,
Yeah.
and they may have childcare set up at home, but they have not got to eat themselves, so they can
Yeah.
grab something to warm up and eat. So it's wonderful.
That's amazing. Um, Anything else on the student support side of things you want to talk about that we haven't mentioned? I know we've hit a few different things, but anything about the way the White Mountain Community College community helps students on their academic or professional journeys?
Absolutely. Yeah. So in addition to our financial aid support and our student wellness, student life support, we also have student success as well. So coaching and tutoring. So we have services for students and they're all free, no extra cost or anything like that. And they can come and get academic help, academic resources like that, whether it's one-on-one situations. We even arrange there may be groups of students in the same program that want to study together. So not only is there that financial and wellness support, but there's also that academic support as well too, through our student support center. And then we also have accessibility services too. So just like in high school, when there's IEPs and 504s, they don't automatically follow the student to
Yeah.
college. The student needs to advocate for themselves. And we have what's called an LOA, a letter of accommodation. So in college, we can't necessarily modify the curriculum, but we can accommodate the students' learning or test taking. So maybe they need to have extra time on the test or go into a more of a quiet room. So between all the services for students, there's a lot out there to help them succeed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great to have that wraparound support to make sure students are getting to graduation and completion of the program. And I know this my data is coming back from a couple of years, but I know that White Mountains has consistently had really high retention graduation rates in the community college sphere, like tops in the region. Am I remembering that correct?
Yeah, yeah, that's good that you brought that up. We are. I've been had the opportunity to go to some national events with other admissions directors and whatnot around the country. And when you look at the stats, yes, White Mountains Community College not only has the highest retention rate, especially in our state, but overall in the country, it has some of the highest graduation rates as well. So that's a testament to the dedicated staff and faculty and administration to help the students succeed. So that's really nice to hear. So hopefully we can keep that going. So
Yeah. Yeah, I have no doubt you guys will. So, all right, a couple, a little more rapid fire, final three questions from me here. So, what is a program at WMCC that you feel like doesn't get enough attention? And you don't have to just say name, you can give a little more explainer, not that rapid fire.
oh yeah, a program that might not get enough attention
Yeah,
sometimes.
you're like, man,
Yeah.
why do people not know we have this?
Here's a good one. Conservation law enforcement. So it's a 2-year degree,
Hmm.
and we have, I mean, what better place to take a conservation law program than in the White Mountains of New
Right.
Hampshire? You know, you think of like a fish and game officer, and I know Plymouth State started one this year as a 4-year program, and but there's not a lot of those around in our state, and we have a 2-year program that's actually um, run by a retired fish and game officer, Wayne Saunders, and kind of a celebrity. He was on Northwoods Law when that was running at one
Right.
point. People may know him from that, but it is a wonderful program. You know, those jobs might not come up as much because the retirement system, a lot of fish and game officers, there's not that turnover like being a policeman, we'll say, in a town,
Mhm.
but it's an excellent program that's tied in with environmental science as well. So I think when students learn that we have that, especially from downstate, they're like, wow, I would love to be a game warden.
Mhm.
And there's even a program for that. Like they might not even know something like that exists. So
Yeah.
that's one that comes to mind for sure.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if I ever change careers, I'm coming to you guys for that program. That sounds awesome. Uh, what is a misnomer or misconception about White Mountains Community College that you'd like to set straight once and for all? Like, what do you think people get wrong?
Um, Probably that the whole community college idea itself that, oh, if I have no other options or if I do not get into a 4-year college, I guess I'm going to go to community college. Whereas now, and again, maybe 25 years ago, 30 years ago, that was the feeling in academia. But now you can see the value of going to community college, and especially at White Mountains Community College, but really any community college in the
Mhm.
state or the country. So the value, that return on investment that you can graduate and you can graduate with a certificate or a degree, but not into poverty. You can actually
Right.
graduate with not a lot of student loans and get a job and make pretty good money. So that's probably that community college can be a first choice rather than thinking you
Mhm.
have to go that it's a last choice.
I love that. And so, for a student who is exploring college, whether it's right from high school, adult learner, and they're thinking about White Mountains Community College, what advice do you give them?
I would say, don't be afraid to start at any age. You know, we have students that they think, oh, I'm old. I'm like, 35 years old. That's too old. Like, nope, not at all. I have
Yeah.
t-shirts older than that. So you can start at any time, and we have people here to support and help you along the way. Even if, some of our students who might not be right out of high school, they're like, well, I'm not really good with computers. I don't even own a computer. Like, we can give them those resources and help them. And even if they have trouble applying online or on their phone, they can actually come in person because it's nice to have that interaction. And that's what I like about being in the North Country. People, we like to interact in person and assist people. So they come here for a tour and we can help them apply right when they get here. So really, there's not any barriers to apply. Even having to track down that final high school transcript, even if their high school has closed, the Department of Education has their high school transcript. So really, the barriers are minimal, if at all, to get. So it's seamless to get involved.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great spot to leave it for today. Mike, really appreciate you taking the time out of your, I'm sure, very busy day heading into uh, with class start on Monday. So I know
Yeah.
this half an hour was extra precious for you. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
Well, my pleasure. It's always good to see you and talk about what we talked about today. I'm excited for the fall semester, and it's really great actually to see applications still coming in this week
Mhm.
for the start on the 31st. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, well, my pleasure. And now, so I'm going to end the recording, and this will be shared with everybody who's registered, and will be live on our website. So thanks, all.